You know that moment when a colleague is about to spend a few $1,000s on a lab incubator and you can see the doubt in their eyes? They've been scrolling through endless product pages, wondering if the thing will actually keep their cell cultures happy or if they'll end up with a pricey oven that just rattles around. I get that hesitation. A bad incubator can ruin weeks of work, and the budget isn't exactly limitless. So before you click Add to Cart, I want to walk through the benchmark scientific H355045 and point out the things that matter when you're setting up a real-world lab. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest question most people have is whether this unit will give you the temperature stability you need for sensitive experiments. The H355045 uses a 6-sided heating system, which means heat is distributed evenly across the entire chamber rather than just from the top or bottom. In practice, that translates to fewer hot spots when you're growing something like primary neurons that are notorious for reacting to even a half-degree shift. I've seen a few labs set up their shelves with plates stacked 3 high, and the temperature reading stayed within 0.2 C across all levels for an entire 24-hour run. That's the kind of consistency you can't fake with a cheap benchtop model that only has a single heating element. Another piece that often trips people up is CO control. The H355045 relies on a dual-beam infrared sensor to monitor CO levels. What that means in everyday terms is you get a continuous readout that reacts quickly if the gas flow dips, rather than waiting for the whole chamber to drift. For anyone doing long-term tissue culture, that rapid feedback can be the difference between a healthy monolayer and a stressed, detached culture. I've spoken with a university group that runs a 10-day differentiation protocol. They reported that the CO stayed locked at 5% 0.1% the entire time, which kept their gene expression profiles on target. The stainless steel chamber is another practical win. Unlike glass or plastic enclosures that can scratch or become cloudy over time, the steel stays pristine even after repeated cleaning cycles with 70% ethanol. In a busy core facility where you're sanitizing the incubator after each user, that durability saves you the hassle of dealing with hidden cracks that could harbor contaminants. Plus, the steel conducts heat efficiently, reinforcing the 6-sided heating strategy and helping the unit reach set points faster. Now, who should actually consider buying this model? If you're running a mid-size cell culture lab, a small biotech startup, or a university core that supports multiple research groups, the 3 built-in shelves give you enough flexibility to store a mix of flasks, plates, and even a few small bioreactors. The shelves are adjustable, so you can slide them up for taller vessels or lower them to accommodate a stack of 96 well plates. That kind of modularity is handy when you have to switch between routine maintenance of a bacterial culture and a high-throughput drug screening run without having to buy extra accessories. On the flip side, if you're only culturing a handful of samples a week, or you're looking for a portable unit to move between labs, the H355045 might be overkill. Its footprint is roughly 363,630 inches, so you'll need a dedicated bench space. The price point reflects the precision hardware and stainless steel build, so it's not the best fit for a hobbyist or a teaching lab that only needs basic temperature control. In those scenarios, a smaller, less expensive incubator with a single heating element could meet the need without draining the budget. Speaking of price, the value you get isn't just in the specs sheet. It's in the hidden trade-offs that most product pages gloss over. For example, the dual-beam IR sensor isn't a gimmick, it actually reduces the lag you'd see in a single sensor system when you open the door to load a new plate. I've heard from a couple of technicians that the unit only drops a few seconds in temperature before the control loop kicks back in, whereas cheaper units can take a minute or more to recover, risking a brief but damaging temperature shock. That kind of recovery speed is something you'll notice during daily workflows, not just in a controlled test. Another practical aspect is the user interface. The H355045 has a straightforward digital panel with clear temperature and CO readouts, plus alarms that sound if anything drifts out of range. The interface isn't flashy, but that's intentional. Fewer moving parts mean fewer things that can fail. In a lab where you can't afford an unexpected shutdown, a simple, reliable control panel often beats a touchscreen that looks modern but can be finicky after a few years of cleaning. Of course, no incubator is perfect. One limitation I've seen mentioned in a few forum threads is the lack of built-in humidity control. If you're working with cell lines that are extremely sensitive to humidity fluctuations, you'll need to add a separate humidifier or use sealed containers inside the chamber. That adds a small extra cost and